Hello, welcome to Yarn Chaos. This is episode 9. My name is Birgitta. I am coming to you from Iceland. This is majority a knitting channel. I do show some other creative outlets like crochet and sewing and whatever else has my heart at the current moment. So I haven't podcasted in a while. And that is just, the nature of things. I have tried a few times, but just life gets in the way and I wasn't able to. So I'm here. It is the 12th of April, 2023. And I have a lot of knitting to show you. The last episode I did was with my mom. We had just gotten back from a sewing retreat or a quilting retreat. I kept saying sewing retreat, but it was majority quilting. And yeah, so if you want to check that episode out, that's episode 8. I am on my own at the current moment. No co-host with me today. But I have... I have one more thing before I go into what I'm going to be showing you. I have... been thinking a lot about a giveaway for you guys because I love interacting with you guys in the comments, and that's like my only connection to you. But other than that, I'm just talking to a phone and it feels very one-sided. And so I thought it would be fun to have a giveaway. And honestly, I had thought about it from my first episode. I knew I was going to want to have a giveaway. But I kept thinking, like, what milestone should it be? And when I hit 100, that just blew my mind. I was like, wow, I have 100 subscribers. That's awesome. And then it kept trickling up, and then just kind of, other episodes were made, and the giveaway kind of went to the back burner. But since my last episode, I have reached 3,000 subscribers, which is just mind-blowing to me because I mentioned it before in an earlier episode that I thought I'd be talking to myself for the first couple months. So I just really appreciate you guys coming back, seeing what I'm doing, and I want to give thanks and host a giveaway. So it won't be today. I'm going to pull some things together and show it on episode 10. So my next episode, I'm going to show what's going to be in the giveaway. And in that episode 10, that's when you can, I don't know what you say. Like, you don't subscribe to a giveaway. That's when you leave a comment and you'll be in the giveaway officially. So we'll figure that out in episode 10. But I was talking to my mom about having a giveaway, and she came with some great ideas. For one, she's going to sew a project bag for whoever wins. And she's made many project bags. She's a very good sewist, and taught me how to make project bags and things like that. And yeah, so I think she hasn't done it. She's just kind of like on the sideline. Allt eller? När du tar med dig? Ah, busted. My daughter just came home for a break from work. We live very close to, it's a tiny town, so she just comes home on break, and caught me podcasting. Anyway, so my mom's just kind of on the sideline, ready to make a project bag, and was just kind of waiting for me to give her the green light. And I'm going to talk to her today, and so that everything will be ready for the next episode, and I'll be able to show what's going to be in the giveaway. I also thought it would be really fun to have some sort of an Icelandic yarn in the giveaway, and maybe have yarn and project bag in one, and then maybe have 2 prizes and have the second prize with just the yarn. So let me know what you think. Like, what is your favorite Icelandic yarn? I have some Álafosslopi that I've used to make like thick wool socks. And I have 2 skeins of those. And I know Mom has 2 skeins of those that she said she would give to the podcast. But yeah, let me know. Like, what is your favorite Icelandic wool? And, you know, it'll be interesting to know what I should have in the giveaway. But reminder, it's not now. It's in the next episode. So enough about that. I am going to be having, so how the episode's going to get broken down, I feel very rusty. It's been a while. But I'm going to talk about what I'm wearing, finished objects, and works in progress, and some future makes, and maybe some like life chit chat towards the end. I love that. When I watch other podcasts, I find that interesting, how people live, what they're doing, what they're getting up to. And yeah, so I'm going to share a little bit more about myself towards the end of the episode. A little like life update kind of thing. So what I'm wearing. If you are new to the podcast, you haven't seen this. If you have been watching my previous ones, you've seen me knit on this. This is the Weronika sweater. I was test knitting for her, and it's all done. It's been done for a while. I actually was going to give an episode out on the 30th of March because this pattern has been released since the 1st of April, but it just didn't work out. It was just so busy and just life stuff, so I wasn't able to get that episode out, so that one just got kind of deleted. But so it's been done since the end of March, and I've got pictures up on my Instagram. My Instagram handle is Yarn Chaos. I also have Ravelry, but I'm very inactive on there, but that's Birgitta Mjöll. And yeah, so I put pictures up on my Instagram. This is the Weronika sweater. It has like really cool features, like the cuff has like a cable pattern and bell sleeves. This was the cutest feature. When I saw this, when she was advertising for test knitters, I saw this and the mohair and the details, and I was like, this is a little bit out of my comfort zone. I'm not very frilly, or like girly, I guess, but I saw this and I was like, gotta have it. But anyway, so this is an I-cord bind off that goes all along the edge here. And you can tie it up, and there's like a little keyhole. And the cool thing about this sweater is that you can actually wear it backwards. So if you don't want to have like a big bow in the front, you can turn it around and have it backwards. There is a little bit of, I think, shaping, so the back is a little bit higher, but I think if you just tie this looser, you can get away with wearing it backwards. The other feature on this, I think is, I was gonna say I think this is pretty basic here, the raglan, but the side has a little cable going down on each side, which I thought was really cute. It's on both sides here. And the other feature, which I thought was really cool, is that the bottom isn't ribbing. You fold it in, and this was a new technique to me. Because you fold it in and sew it a certain way, which I thought was great. And there was a tutorial that I could look up. I'm not sure if she put that in her pattern, but I think it was in there. I'm not really good at this, am I? But anyway, I thought this just looked so polished, having the bottom this way. So, and the back looks like this. And I just thought it looked very finished. Very polished. And this I held double using a hand-dyed yarn from Mitered, which is an Icelandic hand dyer, and kid silk mohair held together in a similar color. And it's warm. Like, it is a little bit too hot to be wearing this inside. So I'm going to try to keep it on for the rest of the episode. But the thing that I want to say is that I loved knitting it. The test knit was just wonderful. I don't normally do test knits. I've done a few, but it's been a while. So when I did this one, I just enjoyed the whole process. I enjoyed making it. If I was stumbling on something in the instructions, because that's what we're here for. We're here to catch like anything that we're not understanding. We're supposed to let the designer know. Which, by the way, her name is Alexandra, and her Instagram handle is Vert and Rose. She's been designing knitwear for a year. This past March was her 1 year anniversary of designing knitwear. So this is insane, like, that she's doing this. Yeah, just kudos to her. I think she's just an amazing designer. She has some beautiful patterns out there. But anyway, the process of test knitting this was great. We had a group chat, and I had a couple of people that were like ahead of me that had started before me. So I found that if I was like stumbling on something in the pattern, I was able to get in the group chat, and a lot of the times it was already it had already been explained. So I was just able to continue knitting, and I didn't have to wait for a response or anything. Like, that's just the nature of test knitting. So that was really great. I was able to just continue. But yeah, the Weronika Sweater, gorgeous pattern. Definitely recommend knitting it. Pattern has been out since 1st of April. Yeah, and if you're like not into this kind of thing, she has other patterns, but she makes beautiful patterns. And yeah, I think it goes up to 5X. So this is definitely size inclusive. I think I did the 2X. There's a lot of positive ease in here, but I love it. And I actually think I may have knit the sleeves a little bit too long, because then also superwash kind of, grows. So when I stand, sometimes the sleeves kind of cover the cuff, and I don't know if that's going to bother me too much. If it does, as much as it will pain me, I can rip it back, shorten it by like 2 inches, and then knit the cuff. I'm hoping that it's going to be fine, and I could just kind of pull it up and wear it kind of just loose to where it doesn't bother me. But yeah, that's my finished object. I have one more to show you, and that is the hat that I was making for my son. It's a hat by Florse Design, and this hat is called the Dotty Hat. And this is it. So I'm a little hesitant to show you because it's quite dirty. My son has been wearing it a lot since I made it for him, and I noticed when I was looking at it before showing you guys, I was like, ooh, I really need to get this in the wash for him. But maybe you can't see it, but I can. Like, it's just yeah, he's just been, it's probably been on the ground and, all that sort of thing. But the minute I finished this, I wasn't even able to like wash it and see how the fabric blooms, because he wore it right away. The next day it was gone off the table and he wore it to school. So I think that's a pretty good sign. But this is the Dotty Hat. I did make some changes. I did ask him what he wanted, because he actually loves color, and he chose this color. It's like a highlighter orange, but with like an undertone of pink. And so he chose this yarn, and this is from Hello Stella. I wonder if I have her. I don't think I have the tag for this one, but I do have it for the other one. What did I do with it? Here. So this tag is for my daughter's hat, so it's not the same color. But this is Hello Stella's logo. And this is her Highland DK 100% Highland wool, 100 grams, 246 yards. I can't remember what the name of this one was. of the color, but he loved it. And when I was looking at the pattern, I asked him, because I wasn't sure if he'd want the baubles, and or if he would want like the little poof ball, but he wanted it all, and he's really happy with it and has been wearing it a ton. I did make some modifications. I think the pattern calls for twisted rib, and I tried that on a black yarn that I didn't enjoy, and I ended up ripping it out. I just really don't like doing twisted rib. So I just decided from the start that I was going to skip that. I did a 2x2 ribbing, and I actually ended up, you see the line right here? I did a 2x2 ribbing until I felt like it was deep enough to cover his ear. And then I did just one line of garter all around and continued in 2x2 ribbing. And that way I get this like just a nice finish. It just holds its shape very well. It just stays folded up. And the pattern is repeated twice. And so the depth pretty much is what it is. There is like different sizes you can choose though, but for the size that I had, this was the depth I had, so I'm glad that it fits really well, and he just loves it. And I just think he's the coolest because he enjoys just different things like the bubbles and the, and he just sported it to school every single day until I took it from him to show you guys. But yeah, so this is the wool unwashed, so I'm not sure how it's going to bloom. I don't know if you can see, like it's fallen probably to the ground right here. Anyway, so this is unwashed. Hasn't bloomed yet. So that's my second finished object. The other thing I want to show you is another hat like this, but I made it for my daughter, and it's in like a super bright color. And when I showed the skein on a previous episode, I was reading the comments, and one commenter said, like, I didn't think we had northern lights where I'm at, but or what did she say? It was something like, I thought the northern lights had came out, but then I realized it was just your yarn. And I was like, oh, right. So put your sunglasses on, because this is bright, and this colorway is called Brightside. So again, hello Stella. Highland DK, and this is how far I am on my daughter's hat. It is a little bit different. I did the ribbing a little bit different because the depth in the size that I'm doing is always the same. My daughter has like a lot of curls and has her hair up sometimes and like buns and things, and needs a little extra depth when she's depending on her hairstyle. So I decided to not do the line, and I just did 2x2 ribbing, and I just had it just deep enough to where if she is wearing her hair up or needs like extra, depth here, she could just fold it down to where it covers her ears still. And if her hair's down, she could just fold it up and wear it like a beanie. So this is how far along I am. I just started the bubbles, the first set, and I've got a ton of project or like stitch markers, and I got them. I couldn't tell you where I have these from. They're like beautiful little like stones, and I think I bought them at a yarn crawl in Bluntos a couple years ago, but I can't remember where I got it from. But I do have this little guy, and this is the mandrake plant from Harry Potter, and I believe this is Simply Serving. She had a lot of Harry Potter things, which I know was like controversial now. So that sucks, because we really loved that series, and for those stories, we still love the stories, but don't agree with just the character of the author, I guess. So anyway, bright side. Let's get back to bright side. This is a really enjoyable knit. You do have to pay attention. That's why I have all these stitch markers on here. Every time the pattern repeats itself, I put a stitch marker, and that's really helping and making the process fun. I'm using Chalgu 4mm needles, US 6 on just a short circular, and yeah, thoroughly enjoying it. And this is in a project bag that I sewed many years ago. As a teenager, I was like infatuated with going to Paris and seeing the Eiffel Tower. I thought that was just so romantic and great. And so if I saw like I have a journal with this on from those days, and fabric and stuff, and I've still not gone. So maybe one day. Made this project bag a couple years ago, and it's just a drawstring, which I think is great because it fits socks, hat, any kind of small yarn. And the great thing about drawstring bags is that they don't snag your yarn or your project, which I think is good. Like, you can close it up, and I also like to just do this if I'm carrying it somewhere. It's almost like a little, purse. But anyway, so this was the Dotty Hat by Flosse Design. I wonder if I should just talk about this blanket real quick. So I've been making little clusters of 9 mitered squares. I actually looked it up, and I started my first little cluster of mitered squares 2015. So they look like this. They remind me, when I started, I was thinking of in quilting, there's a very easy quilt you can do that's called the 9, I think it's just called the 9 patch quilt or something like that. But it's just 9 squares that you sew together, and then you put a border around it and you sew a bunch of them together. I started these little squares in 2015, and then they would just go on hiatus. I would tuck it away for many months, pull it out, make a couple, put it back away, and so it went for years and years and years. And then in the beginning of this year, I thought that I want to have one UFO, unfinished object that's just been tucked away for a long time. I want to pull out one and be have it in my knitting, make what do you say, knitting rounds. I usually have a couple of projects that I'm working on at the same time. Depending on the situation, I work on different projects, and I thought one of those should be a lost project that's been tucked away that I still want but just haven't finished. And so I pulled this out and decided that this is the year that I will finish this. The year 2023 started 2015, which is just insane to me. So I finally finished 12 clusters of 9, and so it was time to put the border on. And I saw that Kay Jones from the Bakery Bears has a pattern out. When I originally started this, this pattern wasn't out, so I was just making the little squares, and I thought to myself, I'll figure out how to put it together later. That wasn't really something I was worried about. I just knew I'd figure it out later. So, and it was so portable. It was nice. It was like the sock project, but it was something you didn't have to think about, because mitered squares is something that I just had, memorized. So I could take it with me to work or wherever, car rides, things like that. But now I have 12. And when I looked at Kay Jones' pattern, I ended up purchasing it a couple weeks ago when I was ready to sew my squares together. And I wasn't sure how I was supposed to do it. And so I figured Kay Jones has this pattern out. Her blanket looks exactly like mine, and then I don't have to figure it out. I'll purchase her pattern and just do as she did. Then after reading through the pattern, I still ended up not doing like she did, which is just also very typical me. I just went rogue, but it was good to have her pattern because I could see how she did it, and then I just saw a different way that would work better for me. So she has you knit a border around each one. Once you finish one, she has you knit a border along each one. And then you just collect a lot of these with the white border already on it, and then she shows you how you connect them together. I didn't want to do that because then you have, like, say you have, these are 10 little rib sections, which is like 12 back and forth rows. And if you already have made, say, 5, and you have 5 here, then you have to sew it together in the middle. And what happens is that you get this little ridge in the back, which you have all this other stuff back here, so really it shouldn't matter. It still looks pretty good in the front. Like, I don't know if you can see the line. You can just see it. I can definitely see it in the back. But the thing for me is that I really don't like picking up stitches. And if I do it this way, I have to pick up stitches here, and I also have to pick up stitches here, knit, knit, and then sew it together. So what I thought, instead of doing that, is that I would only pick up stitches along here, knit 10 rib sections on or 19 rows back and forth, and on the 20th row I what is that called? I cast off. So the 20th row is just the cast off, and then I just sewed it to the next one. So this white part was connected to here, and then I would just sew it to the top part. And that way I only had to pick up once and then sew it on. And I'll show you, I did that here. So I picked up here on this square, knit 19 rows, and on my 20th row I had live stitches and connected it to this square, but look at how it pulls. Having live stitches was not working because I really didn't like this. I hope you're understanding what I'm saying. So third time's a charm. So the third time I decided to knit 19 rows, cast off on my 20th row, and then sew it together. And now I'm not getting pulled stitches here, and it just looks like a clean line in here as well. So this is what I decided to do. Cast off and then sew it onto the next square. So this was my little, I don't know if I'm going to rip this apart and knit it again. I kind of haven't been working on it because I can't decide if I should or not. But this was my first little row that I sewed together. And I have 3 of these that I connected in this way. And then once I had the 4, it's 3 by 4. So once I had the 4 rows in 3, I hope I'm making sense. I hope you're able to follow. You could just zoom past the blanket explanation if you want to. Somebody was asking me, how do you plan on like connecting it? So this is why I'm documenting it here so that you see. So once I had them all connected on the long, I needed to pick up stitches here on the long and knit 20 rows or 19 rows and then cast off on my 20th. And I'm going to show you the squares. I love these. So this is and this one here, this is the oldest one. This is the one I started on back in 2015. So I've got two little rows where I've already connected these, and this is my other one. And and this one here. This one does not fit with this blanket. I've had all these like green and pastels, and not pastels, but like muted colors that are like peaches and greens and browns and pinks and whatever. And then I have this one. And I think this was like in October, and I was channeling some Halloween inspiration, I guess. But anyway, so now I have this one done, and I have this one done. And so I will connect this one here to this side, and then I will take the other one here that has nothing on each side and connect this one, this white row, to here, and then it will be attached, and then I just have to knit the border, and I'll probably just pick up stitches, knit 10, and then pick up along the other one, kind of like the log cabin blanket. But I hope I made sense. I hope you're able to follow me. I'm not a pattern designer. I have no idea how to explain these things, but I hope you understand what I'm saying and how I'm doing mine. But I'm really excited to finish this. And the white yarn that I'm using, I didn't have a white fingering weight out of the same base as this. This is all just this is all sock weight, 75/20 merino, nylon kind of stuff. Some of these may be 100% wool, but all in fingering weight. And I needed some white yarn, and I had none in my stash that were fingering weight. And so I purchased this in just a local store here. It's actually a grocery store, but it also sells like a few home good items, and a lot of our stores carry yarn. So I went into their section and bought some Kambgarn in white, and this one is 50 grams, 150 meters, or 164 yards. It's 100% merino wool. So this is what I'm using to attach it with, and I can't wait to finish it. And this is like my that project. I always need a comfort project where I can just knit and knit, and I don't have to think about it. So right now I do have to pick up stitches, but once I do that, it's just knitting garter, and it does take time. And this blanket is a little bit fiddly because I've enjoyed the process of it. Obviously, it's taken many years, but like it's fiddly to the fact that you have to pick up stitches, which is not my favorite, but it's okay. And you have to sew things together with like whip stitch or whatever method you prefer. So, but I don't mind that because it kind of just breaks up, how you work. It's just the finishing touches, and that's okay for me. But I'm gonna love it when this is all finished, and I can't wait to show you guys. So, but this is my comfort knit right now when I have company over, and a lot of the things I have going on right now, I have to pay attention, and I'm using a chart or anything like that. And so this is great for those moments when you can't give it your 100% focus, but you need something in your hands, which I'm pretty sure a lot of you can relate to. So that's that for me. That's what this is. This is my comfort knit. The other work in progress that I have is super cute, and I started it over Easter weekend, and I'm just gonna show you because at one point I was like, but are you gonna wear those? Like, really? And then I decided, yes I am. I'm gonna wear them. I'm gonna show you. Ta-da! These are from Stone Knits, and they're called the Toadstool socks, I think. I'll put it on the screen. But I went to Icewear and picked up a couple colors of their sock yarn and had these socks in mind. I've had this pattern for a while, and I follow her on Instagram, and she just recently, she's like a magician when it comes to color work socks, and she has so many fun patterns that she just recently gave out a book with 20 something pattern. I think I can't remember how many, but there's over 20 patterns in the book, I think. And I so badly want that book because after knitting these, I wasn't sure at first, but once I knit these up, color work here is just the greatest. And she has such a cool method using color work to where you can actually get this part over your heel, which has been a problem. I made color work socks before and I could never make it loose enough to where I could get it past my heel, but she has a really cool method to do that. So definitely recommend her patterns. I did a 1x1 ribbing and the mushroom pattern, and then I did a Eye of Partridge heel flap and gusset, and this is actually like my favorite heel because it fits my foot so good, and I have this memorized, so I love this. And it's top down, and I decided to use contrast colors for the heel. What was I gonna say? For the, I'm getting messages as I'm filming. For the ribbing, heel flap, and toe. So I found a new yarn store. It's called Icewear Gard. Gard is yarn in Icelandic. This is their logo. And this is their Arctic base, which is a sock base. So it's 50 grams. It's 80% wool and 20% nylon. I had tried their thicker sock base and made like a really cute waffle pattern. I showed that in my last episode, or maybe 2 episodes ago. Yeah, my last episode was just about the retreat. It's the episode before that with my mom. And I love knitting that. I've been using the socks. They're wearing well. So I decided to try out their fingering weight and picked a couple of colors. Let's see. With this pattern in mind. So these are my colors. Hello.
Hi.
Hej Smin. Gabi.
Já.
Mamma að taka upp.
Ófyrir.
Allt í lagi. Var gaman í dag?
Já.
Ég með húuna þína. But yeah, so these are my colors. I love this green, and this is actually what's left over from my first sock, which is pretty good. I haven't weighed it, but I don't know if you can tell. And this one is just a gold color. I don't know if they have their colors. It may just be numbers. Yeah. Let me just show you. Like, this is the gold color. And this is the green. And I didn't want a white. I knew I was going to make the mushrooms, but I didn't want the light part of the mushroom to be like a stark white. So this one's just like a really good cream color. This is the number. And then this is just like a, I don't know, like for me, this is like the perfect red. It's this color. Yeah, so these are the colors for this sock. And but anyway, Icewear Gard is located in Reykjavik, in Skeivan. It's right by, there's 3 yarn stores now in like the same location. Amma Moose is right by Icewear Gard, and then Litla Prjónabúðin, which is the little knitting store, is just like right by. So there's like 3 yarn stores at the same place. But what I think is great about Icewear Gard is that they have their own wool. This is just, they also carry hand-dyed yarn and other things knitting related. But this is their own, they have their own bases, which I think is great because, you know, as a knitter, it's fun to try out new yarn. So that's what I'm enjoying about this store. And yeah, and their staff is just really nice and helpful. And yeah. So I knit this one up in like one evening and then the next day, pretty much, next morning. And love them. And I am on the other sock, which they haven't been washed, so they're still a little like bunched up like color work is, but there's room to stretch it out and flatten it once it's wet. So I'm not worried about it. I think it's gonna lay flat and be really nice. I'm past the heel flap on my second sock, and just finished the gusset decreases, and now I'm just knitting the foot. I have no idea what DPNs these are. This was just something in my stash, and yeah, I'm actually enjoying using DPNs with my sock knitting because I was such a hardcore magic loop knitter for so many years. Like once I learned how to do magic loop 2 at a time socks, that was just my go-to way of making socks. I loved that, like once I was done, I was done. I didn't have to knit the second sock. I didn't get second sock syndrome. And yeah, that was like my go-to method. If you would ask me recommendations, that's how I knit my sock. And my preferred needles were ChowGoo 2.25 on like 80 centimeter to 100 centimeter what is that called, cord. But after years of knitting that way and many socks later, I realized that my tension is so tight when I knit that way because I want the fabric to be very dense. And so the way I hold it, I like hook my pinky somehow, and I don't know, I tense my hands too much when I knit that way, and it just hurts my hands if I knit for too long on a sock. So, you got to think about what's best for your health and all that stuff. And I want to continue making socks. So I was thinking, like, what can I do differently? And sometimes you just have to switch up your knitting. I loved toe up socks because you can actually use up all your yarn. I found like toe up 2 at a time magic loop. That was like my X factor. That was like my but I can't knit that way anymore. It just it bothers my hands. So I have been forced, but not really, because I want to continue knitting socks, to start at the top, do a heel flap, and use DPNs. And I have fallen in love with it, and I see many, many more colorwork socks, especially from Stone Knits. Wow, just love her. I think that's what she's called on Instagram. I'm not sure if that's her design name, but I love this this way of knitting socks now because it doesn't hurt my hands. So, yay! So those are my socks. This is going to be a long episode. So the last work in progress that I am keeping in, I feel like I have to show you my bags because I haven't showed you any of them, but this is like one of my bigger bags. This is my sweater bag, or blanket bag, depending on what I'm doing. But this is from the Fawn and the Fox Etsy. This was her logo. I'm not sure I don't think she's doing anymore. I used to watch her podcast like way back in the day, and I think she doesn't podcast anymore. But when she did, this was her logo, and she was making beautiful, this is somehow pressed using tree stump. So I just thought that was such a cool idea, and it's on a canvas. I like the zipper, and then what kind of threw me when I bought this bag is that it's very neutral on top, and then it has this like salmon zipper, which I thought was like a cute touch, but then the inside is just like something I did not expect. That was just so funny to me. But in this bag I have the Talvinin sweater by Caitlin Hunter. I don't know if she's called something else. I thought I saw her like be something. Bows, I'm not sure. But Boylan Knitworks, Talvinin sweater. And this is it here. I'm loving it. I love knitting the yoke. I just kind of took my time on there because I didn't want it, you know, I was trying to be very conscious of my tension in the yoke. And this is going to be slightly oversized on me, and I didn't want the color work to be tight and to, yeah, basically. And as you can see, I'm at the motif at the bottom, which I started last night, and I'm trying to be very loose when I'm knitting to make sure that it just lays nicely over my hips. So I've yet to do the sleeves. And Talvinin is a bird from the Finnish folklore. And but I kind of like, as I've been knitting, before I knew that, I was knitting this and I was just like, I'm just gonna think that this is ravens because I love ravens, and I'm just like, I'm just channeling ravens right now. Yeah, but I am really enjoying knitting this. I'm using Rauma finull, which is right here. I bought this at Amma Moose in Reykjavik, and this is the Colorway. I believe this is the dark brown. So this is, it looks black, but this is actually a very, very dark chocolatey brown. And this is like a gold color. And here they are in the skeins. I actually had to like cake this one up because I originally, oh, that's what I did. So originally I made too big of a size. I had to size down. So I had to frog back, and that's why this is in a cake. Otherwise it would look like this. But Rauma finull, and I am using 3.25 millimeter needles. But in the pattern, you actually change needle sizes depending on what you want to do with your pattern, like how you want the sweater to lay. You size up on your needles, which I've never done that before. I've always increased here along the sides if I want like an A-line. But in this pattern, you size up on your needles, which I think is kind of cool. And I'm excited to see how that turns out, because that does change how your fabric looks. But I'm hoping that this yarn will just bloom well and fill in any, like if the fabric is looking a little see-through because of bigger needles. But wow, recommend this. I love it. I cannot wait to wear it. So you see me wearing this one, like little frilly with a bow, mohair, you know. But this is much more my style than the sweater I'm wearing. I can do this. This is really nice. I love that. It's very girly and frilly. But on a day-to-day, this is where you'll find me. This is where my heart lays. Earthy tones and this sort of thing. So that's my last finished project. Or not finished project, work in progress. This podcast is going to run long. It is what it is. I had a lot to show you. Now I'm going to show you my like future knits, the dream knitting or whatever, or makes, honestly, because this actually has nothing to do with knitting. So my future makes. One of them is a kit that I got at the sewing retreat that I was at, or the quilting retreat, which I think is just beautiful, is this little guy. There's a bit of a glare, but this is a rug mug or woolly mug mat. It's a little bunny, and I mean, how fitting, seeing as to how it's spring. If you celebrate Easter, this kind of ties into that. My plans were, of course, to make this over the Easter break, which is now over. My kids went back to school yesterday, but that didn't happen. I was working on my little toad socks. Not toad, toadstool. I think that's what they're called, but I've been calling them my mushroom socks. So I was working on those, but I plan on using or working on this over just spring. And it's a little mug rug. I use them all the time. I never used to use coasters or anything like that. I just found that I just never did. Never had the need for it. But now I've been collecting like old wooden furniture from like the 60s. And if you leave your glass on there, you get rings on the table. So past couple years, you bet your butt I've been using rug mugs. Not rug mugs, mug rugs. I have no idea what I'm saying. Mug mat. So this I will open up and start working on. I just need to get it comes with all the felt fabric, and this is just to kind of, the picture is just to show you placement. But it's super cute. It has little tulips, and the bunny is made out of different toned fabrics, and then like little details that you can add, and this here. So this is a future make. I'm excited to get started on that over spring. And the other thing that I want to make, which I actually need to like get going on, talk about, do you hear that I'm a procrastinator? Can you tell? So my sister's oldest son is expecting a baby, his third child, and it's a little girl, and she'll be here, I believe, in June. And while I was on my retreat, I bought 2 packs of these little, I think they're called charm packs. But they're like, the colors are like dark greens and teal, and it's just a lot of just puzzles and animals and ABCs, and these are like the wooden building blocks. Just all kinds of cute fabric. And my plan, see here, you can see the little animals. My plan is to make just a little baby blanket out of this. They are really into like neutral colors, so I love that. And I'm gonna try to find just like a simple quilt pattern that I can follow, and make a quick little quilt for them and get it to them before the baby is born. So that's my sewing project. This is kind of like sewing, embroidery, and then sewing, because I've got enough knitting to keep me busy. So that's my future makes. Now on to the like life update, chit chat. I know people aren't always into that. They're just here for the makes. So if that's the case, thank you so much for stopping by. If you're here for some chit chat, settle in. It won't be long. I don't have too much to say, but I kind of want to document on here also, just for my family and my kids, just kind of life stuff. This is like my little creative diary, but it does overlap with life stuff. So last weekend, my husband and I had a 20-year anniversary, and which is just mind-blowing. We've been together for 20 years, and we met when we were 19. So you can do the math on that. So we have officially been married longer than we had lived apart. I don't know if that makes sense, but that just blows my mind. So we our anniversary fell on a weekday, so we decided to go away over the weekend. We stayed in the city for 2 nights, which was great. We had our babies pretty young. Our oldest 2 are like 18, and my oldest is going to be 20 this summer. And then couple years went by, and we had 2 more kids, and they are 9 and 11. So when we were in our 20s, we were parents, and it was just busy. We weren't getting away on weekend retreats or anything like that. Like, that was something that just wasn't even in our budget or in our dreams, really. We were just busy being parents and getting by, and And then when we hit our 30s, we had our younger two. And yeah, we've just been busy. Just busy with life, and haven't given ourselves really the permission to just go away. I know a lot of people do that around us. I understand that's a privilege as well. But a lot of people around us are good at doing that sort of thing, like where the couples go away over the weekend or travel just the two of them and leave the kids with grandparents or things like that. And but we just never did that. And if one of us was away, the other one was at home with the kids. And so, you know, as life changes and different stages in life, we decided to go away and leave the kids at home with their older siblings, which my oldest is almost 20, so that was okay. And my mom lives just 2 streets over, and my sisters are here, so there's a lot of family around. And so they were just staying at grandma's house one night and just having a good time with their friends and stuff like that. So I feel like I'm like justifying it. We went away and it was great. And it was just the two of us, and we had no responsibilities. We stayed at a place on the main street, which is Lögavegur, and parked the car like 2 streets down. It's kind of hard to find parking, but or you know, I'm in a small town. Parking's not an issue. I don't enjoy going to like downtown Reykjavik a lot because there's just a lot of people, a lot of traffic, and it just makes me nervous driving. That there's people just walk in front of the street, and so it's not the most fun, but I love the boutiques and I love the stores and the atmosphere and everything like that. So it was really fun to just park the car, and it just stayed there over the weekend. We walked everywhere. We went out to eat, walked back and forth on the main street, checked out a lot of cute little shops and boutiques, and just didn't have a care in the world. And just like, what are you in the mood for? Oh, let's just go do this. Okay. And we just, it was really nice. So that happened, and I had actually filmed a podcast that right before the weekend, but I just wasn't able to edit. We were just, doing stuff, living life, and so I never edited that podcast and never gave it out. So that's why there's like such a long gap between episodes. And yeah, what else is going on? So Easter break, the kids were home for about 10 days from school, and we didn't travel anywhere. We didn't go anywhere. We usually stay home over Easter. And my youngest sister and her daughter came and ate with us. I have another sister that lives here in town, and she went with her boyfriend and her little girl, who was 7 months, to his family's house over Easter. And my mom lives here as well in town, as you know, and her and her husband, or not married, but her and her fiance went up north to Akureyri, and that's their tradition. They always go up north and stay at a hotel over Easter, and they just love walking around. Akureyri is a beautiful town. There's usually very good weather there. There's a ski resort there. Or I don't know if it's a resort, but there's like skiing, and the town is just beautiful. It's so fun to walk around there. So that's their tradition. So they weren't home. But we just had a very relaxed weekend. We went and visited family that lives like an hour and a half away from us. And they have a hot tub, and the kids went and, played in the hot tub while we chit-chatted and had coffee. And so it was just nice. Nice Easter break. Working on my socks as we're talking. I had my haircut. I am notorious for not going to get my hair done, and it just usually I'll chop it off and then it'll just grow, and I usually have it up in a knot or in a bun. That's like my go-to. hairdo. But I wanted something different. Wanted some layers and things for summer. So had my hair cut, and yeah, we're just kind of looking forward for summer, and the sun is shining now, which is just gives me life. I love it when the sun comes back after winter, and the dark days. It just gives you just like extra energy, and spring in Iceland is a little bit of a tease because it's springtime, you get the sun, you see it's springtime elsewhere in the world, but then like a blizzard will come, or everything's covered in snow, or we're having like wind warnings, or something like that. So one day it's like beautiful in my backyard, we're starting to see the trees and the grass, and then the next day it's covered in snow. So I'll try to put that in the clip, just the difference in days. But really, you can't really think that the weather's going to get better, because it's actually snowed in like June here in Iceland. So it's always like in the back of your mind, like, but it could snow, but the weather could turn. But like the birds are chirping, and there's so many other signs of, just warmer weather. And yeah, so last summer we went to America and visited my husband's family. We traveled for a couple weeks. This summer we don't plan on doing that. We're not going to be going elsewhere, like out of the country. We actually have family coming to visit us this summer, and we're going to try to just do a lot of traveling around the island. We have like I'm not sure what it's called in English. We say fetlihise. It's like a trailer that you hook onto your car, but it's compact, and then you open, like a pop-up camper. That's what it's called. So we have a pop-up camper. It only opens up on the one side. It's small, but it's enough for us. Our older two have long since stopped going with us, so it's just the younger two. And then for a portion of the summer, it's just me and the younger two, because I have longer summer vacation than my husband does. So sometimes it's just me traveling with my younger two and like my sister or something like that. So I'm looking forward to that, and I think that will be fun to like catch some video and show you guys like different places of the country, because I've just been showing you. I live in the western part, like the southwest of Iceland, and I've just been showing you clips around here. There's the mountains are very close to us. I live right by the sea. I can see the sea is just in my backyard. And so I'm right by the ocean. I'm close to the mountains, and we have like little clusters of trees, like little forests around us that I've been showing you guys. So there are trees in Iceland. But where the international airport is called Keflavik, and that is just moss fields, which is cool on its own. It's just lava rocks with moss all over it, and the mountains are like very far from you. You could just see them in the way distance, which I think is great here, because I remember when we were traveling in America, a lot of times you can't see like far. You're always covered in trees. There's trees on both sides of the highway. So it's like stunted your vision, whereas in Iceland you can see endlessly, which is just something that I love. I love seeing the mountains in the distance and stuff. But this is what you've seen here, so it'll be fun to travel around the island and show different areas and how different they look, because the nature here and the landscaping is very different depending on where you are in Iceland. So if you've stopped at the international airport and seen what Iceland looks like just from that viewpoint, that is just I mean, I guess it's cool in a way, because I have had people tell me that it looks like they've landed on the moon, because you could just see just moss fields, or like just rocks, like rock fields. covered in moss, and it's just strange, I guess, to people that have never seen it before. But once you travel inland, I'm sure you've seen pictures. The nature here is really beautiful, and yeah, I look forward to being a tourist in my own country and seeing the waterfalls and the touristy sites, but also just other places that we go to. But yeah, I think that is it for me today. Thank you so much for coming by. Thank you so much for sticking around. And I look forward to my next episode where I will be showing what I will be giving away in the giveaway. So stay tuned. You can put the bell notification on so you're notified on the next episode if you want to take part in the giveaway. And like I mentioned before, it'll be fun to hear from you guys. Like, what is your favorite Icelandic yarn, so that I can kind of just have that in the back of my mind for the giveaway, and so I can get some things together for you guys. So until next time, thanks for sticking around and visiting with me. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.